I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, June the 15th, brought to you in part by Sweet Pro, featuring DDGs, CDS, and probiotin. Sweet Pro blocks boost fertility, improve herd health, and allow calves to gain more pounds on pasture. Visit sweetpro.com. Feeder board spikes on Monday to open the week, and that's always great when we start on a positive note there. And of course it was your feeder board by the most part, but it pulled your fat board up a little bit, but the feeder board was so strong mostly because your grains were down so hard. Now, a little bit unclear on why they were down quite so hard. We did have some spotty moisture, and I mentioned that on our last visit, in places that had been so dry. We're getting pretty close here to where your options are playing out here for your July contracts on corn and beans. Our open interest on corn still 370,000 for July contract, and that compares to 588,000 on the all-important new crop December. So there's a lot of transitioning to take place here before too long. Actually happening here pretty quick, and I think that's probably got as much to do about it as anything, and I've talked about that in a recent visit here a week or so ago, but be a lot of jumping out of July and getting into something else. But these funds have really enjoyed riding on July for most of the spring and into this summer, and they've gained a lot of ground doing that, but they're going to have to bail out of it unless they want to get delivered upon, which maybe they would want to get delivered upon with the basis in most of your terminals at a positive. But still, I don't think many of them want to fool with that too much. So, but we'll just see what happens with your grain futures on Chicago Board of Trade. Very volatile as they have been here for the last several months. What's going on around? Less than 2 weeks after we had the cyber attack on JBS, Congress has collectively sent a letter into JBS wanting answers to questions about the cyber attack, which, that's fine if they want to get answers to that. They probably want to know a lot about the ransom that reportedly was paid and things like that, what they got into, how vulnerable we were and everything. But the fact that it only took 2 weeks for a black swan event that really only shut them down for a couple of days makes us wonder, why does it take us more than 2 years to get any information back on a DOJ investigation that was into all four packers on collusion and unfair trade practices, anti-competitive things, antitrust acts, things like that. I don't understand why we can't get any action that quick. And it's really ridiculous. Now, we've seen here last week that another letter was sent in, told them to spur up on that investigation that we haven't got any answers to. But who knows? I really doubt it'll come within 2 weeks. But very disgruntling to see that. But as I've talked about so much, and I'm sure you guys get tired of hearing it. It sounds like a broken record, but box beef cutout values are starting to tail off seasonally, but still your choice cut sitting at $3.35 a pound. That's it's gouging at its worst, and it's ultimately hurting our demand for our product. The demand for our product. People are getting to the point where they just think that beef is a delicacy that they can't afford, maybe just on a very special occasion. I made a trip on Monday out to the local Walmart here in Canyon, Texas, and looking through the things. I had to get some stuff there, went through the grocery aisles, which I'm a single dad. I normally buy my groceries at Walmart. That way I can get all the other crap that I need too while I'm out there. But our family's lucky enough that we usually have a chest freezer full of meat, but went over through the meat aisles and looking at things and just kind of comparing and looking and made this comparison and ended up buying this meat here for example's sake more than any other, but it won't go to waste. But look at these two packages of meat. We've got some pork chops there, just kind of cheap assorted pork chops. And then we've got some Angus ribeyes here. And you think, well, I wouldn't buy my beef at Walmart. Walmart and Sam's got about as good a beef as you can buy anywhere, guys. Unless you want to go to a local shop somewhere. But there's nothing wrong with it. But you look at the disparity in the price there. We've got your assorted pile of pork chops, and I'm telling you, a heaping pile of them, near 4 pounds of them, less than 12 bucks for that whole pile there. And I know you guys know what the price of beef is, but just look in comparison to what a housewife would be thinking. And then you see this impressive package of ribeyes here. There's 2 3/4 pound there, nearly $40. Okay, now if you're scraping by and wondering where, how you're going to get all your bills paid, living paycheck to paycheck, which one of those are you going to buy? The kids aren't going to know the difference, guys. And sadly, a lot of the people wouldn't know the difference. Tell you what, you throw those pork chops on the grill, they're not that bad. And of course that ribeye is going to be a whole lot better, but if you screw it up and leave it on too long, I'd rather have the medium rare pork chops. But still, you can see why people make decisions that they do. Well, we continue to gouge these consumers like we are, and we're not doing it. Cattle people are not doing it by any means, but your packers are, and we can't reel them in at all, and only able to maintain steady levels on fat cattle. Been steady for over a month now. But you look at that, you can see that is ultimately going to hurt the demand for beef, and it's going to hurt everybody in the cattle and the beef business down the line because of this, the greed that's going on and the gouging that's going on right now. Look at some other things that are going on. The racist program that was set up by USDA and this Biden administration to pay minority farmers up to 120% debt forgiveness has been suspended. You think, well, why did they suspend it? Yes, it's racist by definition. If you look like me, you're out. Anything else, maybe we'll check. But that is absolutely ridiculous. And to think, they're calling people racist, and you can just figure that in this Democratic administrations, anything that they're accusing the right to be, that's what they are by definition. And this whole program was racist by definition. And anyway, they suspended it. Why? Because they had a class action suit by a bunch of white farmers that said, hey, this ain't fair. It absolutely is not fair. And they the judge, they was about to come to a hearing, and they saw that they were going to lose. Well, hell yeah, they were going to lose. By definition, it was racist. So they have suspended that program. They said in the statement I saw they would like to get it back going again, but I don't know what they're going to do with the money that was set aside for that. But, I hate it for the minority farmers that were going to get that. Of course, some of them had already got it, but still, it's not fair. You can't do that, reverse discrimination is just as bad as any discrimination. But let's look at your board on Monday. June live cattle futures up 67 cents at 119.37. August up $1.25 at 121.27. Going your back months on live cattle up a nickel to up $1.02, and I feel like that your feeder cattle were pulling them along, or we wouldn't have seen such gains there in your live cattle pits. Now look at feeder cattle. August feeder cattle up $3.42 at 154.60. That's our spot month, guys, is August, and all important because we got all these big videos and stuff coming up here, and it's going to make a big difference on the price on those. September feeder cattle up $3.30 at 156.82. Going your back months, and I mean throughout it was consistently higher and a lot higher. Back months on feeder cattle from up $2 to up $3.10. So that was great to see that. And you think, well, why? Well, look at your old crop July corn, down 25.25 at 659.25. Still sounds pretty high to me. December down 28.5 at 581.25 for new crop corn. Soybeans, July down 36.25 at 1472.25. New crop November down 43.5 at 1395.25. Wheat harvest is rolling, guys. I tell you what, it's been hot enough, and in some places it's dried out enough, but and going to be a whale of a wheat crop this time for the guys that decided to harvest it. And combines are running wide open, guys. In southern Oklahoma, starting to see them in the Texas Panhandle. They'll be running all up through the central part of the U.S. over the next couple of months. Look at your weighted average on last week's negotiated fat cattle trade out of your 5-area feeding region. 83,900 head. Like I said, I'd like to see 100,000, but that's the best we've seen for many weeks. So we'll take that. That 83.9 compared to 56,200 last week, 81,900 the same week a year ago. Your live sales and steers and heifers last week ranged from 116 to 122.50, pretty big range. But your weighted average on live steers was 120.03. That's up 11 cents. Mostly steady. We've been going with these charity bids, we call them. Some people don't like to use the word charity bids, but just kind of rocking right along here. Your packers are coming in offering them. Guys aren't fighting it too bad because they got cattle that they need to get rid of, and well, I don't know how much longer we'll go along here. I hear tell that guys are wanting a little more than that, and we actually saw a little bit of trade towards the high end of last week's spread there, that 122. Even heard of a string of cattle bring 124 in Nebraska. Must have been pretty good deals there. But hang in there, guys. There's no need to resist the temptation to ask a little bit more for your cattle. That's the only way you're ever going to gain a dollar. In the last month on live sales, your weekly weighted average has only wavered less than 40 cents per hundredweight on your live cattle weighted average for the week. And which is, I mean, it's just been absolutely steady. It's just been a charity deal. Here they give it, and you know, the guys don't feel like they're in a position to ask much more, and so they take it. Dress sales, steers and heifers last week, 188 to 196. That's pretty wide also. But your weighted average on dress steers, 190.69, up 1 penny per hundredweight, which doesn't sound like much, and it's not much, especially whenever you look at your box beef cutout values, and they've been going up $6, $8, $10 a whack, you know, on a hundredweight. So compared to up 1 penny on your weighted average on dress steers. Nationwide negotiated sales last week, 98,500 head negotiated. Formulas, 261,200 head. There's our problem. Of the negotiated 98,500, a little over 32,000 of them, or 33% of them, were for the 15 to 30 day delivery, which you know, makes it look like they're trying to set you up. But we've been hearing for the last week or two that guys are saying that they want time on them, and indeed they end up calling for them a whole lot quicker than what they had expected to when they made the deal. But you know, I'm feeling last week and feeling this week that your packers are more current than they let on. They're more current on the product that they have to sell to their customers, and they're more current on the sale or the purchasing of cattle. And not saying they're short bought by any means, but tell you what, they still need to purchase cattle right along. Box beef cutout values, choice cuts Monday afternoon, 335.47. Down 209, so significantly lower, but still astronomically high. Select cuts 303.41, down $1.80. Let's talk about what else is going on. Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri, having another big run here on Tuesday and having another in-house video. Tell you what, they got good quality cattle, homegrown cattle there. A lot of backgrounded, long-time backgrounded cattle on there. Mostly coming out of southern Missouri and northern Arkansas, but sure nothing wrong with them, guys. You want to get on there, start those in-house videos early in the afternoon there on dvauction.com. Just look out for Ozarks Regional Stockyard, West Plains, Missouri. Also, only 2.5 weeks for the petition signatures for checkoffvote.com. You know, I plead for you guys to get on there and do that. Sure, not very hard. Checkoffvote.com. Get on there. There's 6 or 8 lines there that you fill out, and then you have signed the petition for a referendum on the beef checkoff. You know, and maybe we could get a little bit more control on where those dollars are going, and let's start spending them a whole lot more wisely. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV auction. Late in the day on Monday at 138.80. That was up 68 cents than from the end of last week. So closing that gap on the CME index to less than $1 now. So getting back in line there because it had jumped ahead with some big dump of unverified direct sales there the week before. Look at your big sales on Monday. Oklahoma National Stockyards in Oklahoma City, 10,500 head. Feeders $4 to $7 higher, and spots as much as $10 higher. Wow, I mean that's a jump out there in Oklahoma City. And Oklahoma City, you know, they're heavily influenced by your corporate feeders. So they looked at that jump in the board and things lined up, and they dug right in on those cattle. Now your steers and heifers on your calves was a little bit in reverse order, but steer calves $4 to $6 higher, heifer calves $4 to $8 lower. Joplin Regional Stockyards, 4,900 head there, just an average run for them. Feeders there steady to $3 higher, calves $2 to $4 lower. Had an individual quote on some steers that I thought looked awful good. 61 head of 873-pound steers bring $140. Had a good sale at Sioux Falls Regional Livestock in Worthing, South Dakota. Also on DV auction there. 3,400 head of them on Monday. Ranged from $2 to $10 higher for the most part. And really good sale and a lot of bigger strings in there. You look at this accumulation of loads and bigger that I pulled out of Cattle Market Central there, and mostly bigger cattle, which you'd expect up in that part of the country. But look at those 9-weight steers, loads and bigger of them selling in the mid 130s, and in particular that top quote that you see on there, 161 head of 1,014-pound steers bring $130.50. Thought that was awful good. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Monday, and your Zactran top quote for the day, come out of Tri-State Livestock, McCook, Nebraska. 300 head, you'll see the last load on here, but 300 head in total, 891-pound steers bring $145.10. That's your feeder flash for Tuesday.